expecting such an order. Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court Abuja has dismissed the bail applications filed by 4 suspects linked to notorious bandit kingpin Bello Turji. In a ruling, Justice Nwite held that the prosecution, led by the Attorney General of the Federation, had made a compelling case against the defendants that releasing them would be a great threat to the nation's national security. Justice Nwite agreed with the argument of counsel to the AGF, David Kaswe, that though granting bail is at the discretion of the court, the decision must be exercised judicially and judiciously. Justice Nwite, who granted an accelerated hearing of their trial, however, dismissed the bail plea. The judge equally granted an ex parte motion moved by Kaswe seeking the protection of the witnesses as the trial commences immediately. The immediate past Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has stated that decisions regarding presidential pardons are legal matters handled by a designated committee, with the Attorney General's role limited to presenting the committee's report. Malami made this clarification in an interview on Friday while responding to allegations in former President Olusegun Obasanjo's newly released book, Nigeria, Past and Future. The book, one of 2 newly released to mark Obasanjo's 80th birthday, alleged that corruption was at its worst under the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, with Malami playing a key role in enabling corrupt practices. Obasanjo claims that the most atrocious waste, enthronement of corruption, and discouragement of officials fighting corruption occurred during Buhari's administration, describing Malami as a devil's workshop. During Buhari's tenure, 2 former governors, Joshua Dare of Plateau State and Jolin Yame of Taraba State, who had been convicted of fraud, were granted presidential pardons. Dare had been serving a 10-year sentence for embezzling 1.1 billion naira in state funds, while Yame was serving a 12-year sentence for misappropriating 1.64 billion naira. Obasanjo, however, alleged that Malami had strongly advised Buhari to grant the pardons and that the process was tainted by corruption. In response, Malami refuted the claims, insisting that the process of granting pardons is strictly regulated by law. Away from judicial matters, a member of the World Council of Urhobo Professors, Sani Awefada, says they have found it confusing that after 1 year that those responsible for killing 17 army personnel in Okwama in Delta State are yet to be found by the security operatives. Awefada, in an interview on Friday, said identifying those behind the heinous crime and bringing them to book will go a long way in bringing closure to the case. The military had taken over the community after 17 army personnel were gruesomely killed on the 14th of March 2024 in the Riverine community in the Ogeli South local government area of the state, causing many residents to flee into the creeks and other neighboring communities. The 17 personnel, the commanding officer of 181 Amphibious Battalion, 2 majors, 1 captain, and 12 personnel of the battalion were later buried at the military cemetery in Abuja. Speaking further, the Urhobo leader lamented that the Okwama community leaders arrested in the aftermath of the incident are still languishing in detention after months of arrests. He regretted the death of one of the community leaders in military detention and appealed for the release of the remaining detainees.
Today is March 14, to remember what happened to us last year, and we are still in the shock because our people is still in the detention. Our President General is still with the military. The order of our leaders, Professor Ekpepo, Honorable Befis Adogbo Malaka, and maybe they are still in the hand of the military. They are still in the detention suffering. So we are here today to tell the federal government, please, all our expectation, let our leaders be released. Let the body of our President General be released to us. Because where we are requesting for this, because we know nothing about the crisis that happened.
All we want, make our president do for us. May he come build the community for us. May he come open school for us. And may he bring food. Most especially, may he release those our people. Those people is our eye in this community. Priest and priest, we are begging, we are pleading Please and please, let our people be released and let the Okwama community build back. Okwama will be called New Okwama.
The Edo State Police Command says a Reverend Father Philip Ekeli from St. Peter Catholic Church, Ivioha, Esako East local government area, kidnapped on 3rd March, has been released. A statement from the command through its spokesperson, Moses Yamo, disclosed that the priest released in Amure community around 5 p.m. on Thursday, 13th of March, followed intensive search and rescue operations by police operatives and vigilante members. The command noted that its operatives were continuing with bushcombing exercise to recover the remains of the seminarian Peter Andrew, who was kidnapped along with the priest, but regrettably died in the process. According to the command, the exercise is also aimed at arresting the remaining members of the kidnap gang. The Deputy Vice Chancellor of Achievers University, Oyesoji Aremu, says Nigeria's porous borders will remain a relentless challenge exacerbating issues of terror and insecurity in the country. Aremu said this today on Western Spring Television's Morning Spring program, stressing that the commercialization of kidnapping and terrorism has significantly contributed to the recent spike in the abduction of clergymen in Nigeria. According to Aremu, repeated negotiations with terrorists have only encouraged the continuous kidnapping of clergymen across the country. He further explains that one major obstacle to eradicating kidnapping and banditry in Nigeria is the reluctance of local communities to assist security operatives. Over the years, Nigeria has been confronted with a myriad of security challenges ranging from terrorism to banditry and secessionist agitation, while there has been a series of talks on combating them by different government administrations.
We're talking about the arms and ammunition that are in circulation. How do we control the arms and ammunition that are in control? That are in circulation rather. How do we how about the issue of border issues, porous borders? Are we talking about this? We have a number of recognized borders. When I use recognized borders that are in the paper that the federal government know about. We also have other borders that the Nigerian government does not know about. And for that very reason, these are routes through which arms come to the country and so on. And remember, many of these arms that come to the country, many of these arms were not intended, I use the word intended, for criminality. Criminality goes this time around. Some were fell into the country for the issue of mining. And for that very reason, after probably using it for mining, they also got to some wrong hands and that they used it for nefarious activities. Of course, some were imported or fell into the country, in quote, as well, for the purpose of terrorism and banditry again. So we need to address the issue of the border security. We need to address the issue of border security. It is the fact that for long, when this thing started, I always make reference to this in 2009. Then the young government did not take it as something very, very serious there. But it got out of hand. And unfortunately, there's just this thing we to talk about in security circle, in security literature, that you can only stop terrorism from starting. The moment it starts, the moment it starts, you only be making efforts to really reduce it. You can't stamp it out. They know the church will rise, everything will do, put money together. It's not that the money is there. But this, as I said the other time, the response is what is there. And because of the response and because of the agitation to say, please, do not let us waste time, they know they will look for money anywhere for them to be able to look, to release the people kidnapped who are in the bondage of the criminal. So that is the reason. It's not as if the money is there per se, but the fact that they want to say, okay, if you do it, then there will be suit far to in criminal justice and security study as commodification. In other words, they have commoditized kidnapping for ransom. And of course, there are cases in which money that people have gotten from kidnapped individuals in this country. In fact, there was a study carried out recently without shows huge amount of money in dollars, equivalent in dollars, that people were kidnapped. So the main motive when it comes to kidnapping is to get money, to get ransom, huge amount of money out. You see, criminality, banditry, insurgency or terrorism will thrive where the community is not providing the needed assistance, where the community is not providing what I talk about, what I call community intelligence. So these are issues. I think we must address this very, very well.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has urged battalion commanders to demonstrate exemplary leadership in their respective commands to enable troops to tackle the emerging threats to national security effectively. Oluyede made the call while addressing battalion commanders participating in the just concluded First Commanding Officers Workshop 2025, held at the headquarters of 2 Division, Nigerian Army, Ibadan. This was contained in a statement issued by the Director of Army Public Relations, Major General Onyema Nwachukwu, on Friday in Abuja. Oluyede described battalion commanders as a crucial link between the operational and tactical levels of command. The Army Chief further urged the commanding officers to brace up to address threats to national security in their respective areas of responsibility. He also called on them to remain unwavering in their loyalty to the government and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Staying with security, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has rejected recent reports alleging targeted killings of Christians in Nigeria. The federal government describes the report as part of a misleading campaign aimed at influencing foreign governments to designate the country as a country of particular concern due to violence against Christians. This was contained in a statement signed by the acting spokesperson for the ministry, Imebi Ebiemfa, on Friday. According to reports, the United States House of Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Africa authorized President Donald Trump to impose sanctions on Nigeria due to the alleged widespread killing of Christians and escalating religious violence within the country. The approval came after a congressional hearing on Wednesday, while lawmakers expressed frustration over the Nigerian government's alleged failure to protect Christian communities from the ongoing attacks. However, the ministry acknowledged the country's security challenges, but stressed that such incidents are not motivated by religious bias. It said the majority of violence in the predominantly Muslim northern region stems from criminality, insurgency, and banditry, not religious persecution. And talking politics, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has again written to the Rivers State House of Assembly, proposing Wednesday, March 19, 2025 as the new date for the presentation of the 2025 state budget. In a letter addressed to the Speaker of the Assembly, Martin Amehule, Governor Fubara recalled his earlier attempts to present the budget on March 12, which was unsuccessful due to being denied entry into the Assembly premises. He stated that despite prior delivery of a soft copy notice and efforts to submit a hard copy through the clerk, he and his entourage were locked out. The governor emphasized that his attempt was in compliance with the Supreme Court judgment, which he noted has also mandated the Assembly to carry out its functions within constitutional boundaries. He also reminded the Speaker that the House had previously issued a 48-hour ultimatum for the presentation of the budget, even before he was served with a certified true copy of the judgment and enrolled orders. Meanwhile, the faction of the Rivers State House of Assembly, led by the Speaker, Martin Amehule, has adjourned its plenary indefinitely. The decision was taken during the plenary session held at the Assembly quarters in Port Harcourt on Friday. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has released the updated register of voters in Rivers State, along with the list of registered political parties in Nigeria ahead of the forthcoming local government council elections. In a letter dated March 13, 2025, and signed by the Administrative Secretary, Odo Emezurike, INEC formally notified the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RCIC, of the release. The letter, addressed to the RCIC chairman, confirmed that a soft copy of the voters' register had been provided in response to the Commission's request. Following this development, RCIC issued a press release announcing the receipt of the updated register from INEC headquarters. The list of registered political parties released by INEC include parties such as the All Progressives Congress, the People's Democratic Party, Action People's Party, Labour Party, as well as 15 others. The Social Democratic Party, SDP, candidate in the 2023 presidential election, Adewole Adebayo, has announced his intention to run again in 2027. Speaking in an interview on Friday, Adebayo said SDP is not engaged in any discussions regarding a coalition with other political entities. He said SDP is committed to maintaining its independence and pursuing its own agenda ahead of the 2027 presidential race. His remarks come amid political realignments following the defection of Nasir El-Rufai, former Kaduna State governor, from the ruling All Progressives Congress to the APC. El-Rufai had suggested the possibility of the broader opposition coalition to challenge the APC in future elections. However, Adebayo downplayed the idea, adding that such discussions were taking place outside the SDP's leadership. The former presidential candidate also made it clear that his 2027 bid was well known within the party. A lawmaker of the Osun State House of Assembly, Abiola Awoyeye, has called on Nigerian youths to always position themselves in right places in order to make change in Nigerian politics. The lawmaker, representing Ife Central State constituency, says this while fielding questions on active participation of youths in politics in a program on Western Spring Television on Friday. While speaking on roles played by veteran politicians in the country, Awoyeye says to successfully participate in politics, Nigerian youths must have godfathers. The lawmaker concluded that most youths lack the financial resources required to actively engage in politics.
I think young people in politics, it will be very hard for them because politics in Nigeria, as we know it nowadays, is you need a godfather. You almost need a godfather. It's like a 90% thing. If you have a godfather that's going to put you through, that will stand in gap for you, you would make mistakes and you will make costly ones. You know, in politics, it's about posturing. When we talk about politics now, not about governance, we're talking about politics now. It's about posturing, body language. You don't know all these things before.
Why do you think that's so?
There is your answer to that. There is what it means to have someone that will stand in gap for you. I didn't say you can't do it, but it's going to be very hard. And let me tell you this, as young people, we have to learn engagement. We have to learn how to engage people, how to engage our leaders. And you know, it's not a we versus that. That is why I talked about process. Don't think about just displacing everybody. Is everybody a bad egg? No, everybody's not a bad egg. And I want to put it to you, young people believe that the people there don't know what to do, or they are not experienced, they're not wise. The old people there, they know what to do. Okay. But who is going to spoil them? Is there the political will to do the right things? Are the people going to push? The power is getting back to the people, because one of the good things that we've done is reforming our electoral act.
In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has assured that he will implement recommendations of the upcoming National Youth Conference that will enhance national development. Senior Special Advisor to President Tinubu on Citizenship and Leadership, Sola Abiola, says this in an interview today. Abiola said President Tinubu convoked the conference to give the youth opportunity to contribute to governance of the nation. Tinubu had, in his nationwide broadcast on October 1, said he would set up a Saturday National Youth Confab for youths in the country to discuss and address challenges confronting them. On Monday, the president inaugurated the planning committee for the National Youth Conference at the State House, Abuja. At the event, he assured that the ongoing economic reforms were designed to strengthen the economy for the prosperity of Nigerian youth, who constitute more than 60% of the population. You're watching News at 7 on Western Spring Television. Still to come. Protesters take lingering face-off between Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Kogi lawmaker Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan to United Nations office in Abuja. We will bring you more on this when we return. You're welcome back. This is still News at 7 on Western Spring Television. A reminder of our headlines. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has halted the reinstatement of Alhaji Muhammad II as the Emir of Kano. A member of the World Council of Honorable Professors, Sani Ahwe-Fayada, says they have found it confusing that after 1 year that those responsible for killing 17 army personnel in Ukwama in Delta State are yet to be found by the security operatives. River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has again written to the River State House of Assembly proposing Wednesday, March 19, 2025 as the new date for the presentation of the 2025 state budget. On the foreign scene, former central banker Mark Carney was formally sworn in as Prime Minister of Canada, putting him in a position to fight tariffs from U.S. President Donald Trump that could devastate the trade-dependent Canadian economy. Protesters under the aegis of Women for Change Vanguard took the lingering face-off between Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Kogi lawmaker Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan to the United Nations office in Abuja on Friday. Chanting solidarity songs and displaying several banners, the protesters challenged Akpoti-Uduaghan to provide evidence of the alleged sexual harassment she accused Akpabio of. The protest comes barely 24 hours after the Kogi Central Senator filed a contempt charge against Akpabio and others over her 6-month suspension without pay from the Senate. It will be recalled that Akpoti-Uduaghan had escalated her dispute with Akpabio, presenting her case at the United Nations Forum International Parliamentary Union, alleging political victimization. She was suspended on March 6 after a heated confrontation with the Senate leadership over a new seating arrangement, which she claimed was designed to undermine her. Tensions intensified when Akpoti-Uduaghan on national television accused Akpabio of punishing her for rejecting his alleged sexual